The Arcane Archer is one of the most busted subclass when it comes to AoE damage since patch 8. And what happens when you combine the two best archers in the game? Have you already guessed where this is going? And what still holds the crown of the hardest hitting archers exclusively in BG3? Of course, the source bar thanks to Slashing Flourish. Did y'all forget about the subclass? Got a little too distracted by patch 8's all new shiny toys? Arcane Archer might look flashy and magical, but Slashing Flourish lets you fire 2 arrows in one attack. Exactly what makes it the undisputed king when it comes to raw power. Even Arcane Archer, its biggest rival in AoE damage, cannot fully knock it off the throne, but that's when Arcane Archer comes in, to enhance this build even further, not to replace, but to level it up. We need Arcane Shots to purely focus on AoE damage with Piercing Arrow and Bursting Arrow exploding. Now throw a Sneak Attack, Hacks, and imagine if we crit on top of that. That said, here's the goal of this build in a nutshell. Arcane Shots, Slashing Flourish, Sneak Attack, and Hacks. Wait, why Hacks specifically? We'll get to that in the nitty-gritty. If you're a BG3 fan, you can stop here and probably already know where this is going, but if you're interested in the choices and benefits beyond just raw damage, let's break it all down. I'll be theming this character as Atreus from God of War franchise, a quick, nimble archer whose every arrow laced with magic. I hope you don't mind. So naturally, Atreus' journey begins where it always would, training with his father. And in BG3 terms, that means picking up fighter level first. Starting as fighter gives us heavy armor and shield proficiency, cause as a backliner and a concentration holder, we don't want to be squishy, as that means we will get clapped pretty often. Probably dead by round 4, maybe even 3. We don't want that. Speaking of which, we also get Second Wind, another option to use our bonus action and heal ourselves. And of course, our beloved archery fighting style for that sweet +2 attack rolls. Honestly, every archery build thirsting for this, especially when sharpshooter will decrease our hit chance drastically. At fighter level 2, we get the almighty action surge. Always great when you need to drop some clutch spells that round and shut down a couple key threats fast. At level 3, the runes awaken, Atreus' arrows turn magical as we pick up the Arcane Archer subclass. First up, Atreus gets guidance from his mother, which helps turn him into the ultimate skill monkey build. We'll come back to that later. Now, as the title and thumbnail already gave away, this build's all about barrages and just raining arrows all over the battlefield. So my pick for the first Arcane shot has to be the Piercing Arrow. You fire one shot and it hits every enemy in the direction you fire, no limit on how many get hit. They all take 1d6 piercing damage, which makes it our first real magical barrage arrow. I would say try to hit at least 3 enemies with it though, anything less and the damage doesn't really feel worth it. At least to me, it's super fun and satisfying when you light it up just right and go pew, pew. If the enemies are a little too scattered or they're just too far out for Piercing Arrow to reach, which by the way, Piercing Arrow does have a limited reach, it's more of a close to mid-range attack, then you're gonna need an alternative. Which brings us to the next Arcane shot, Bursting Arrow. You basically launch a magical arrow bomb into a cluster and boom! It explodes in a 17-foot radius, dealing 1d6 force damage. It's basically archery version of Fireball, and it's perfect when enemies are grouped but not lined up, or even more key threats that you cannot reach. Just aim for the middle and watch the screen light up. For the last Arcane shot, honestly, just pick your favorite. Vanishing Arrow is great for single target control. I think it's more worth it using on bosses rather than regular foot soldier type enemies, since we already have options to handle crowds. That said, I haven't fully tested it yet how reliable it is against a real big bag, like Armser, or if it even works all know what the success rate is. Then there's Shadow Arrow, which hits for 2d6 psychic damage and also blinds the target. A blinded enemy means your whole party gets advantage on attack roll against them, and they get disadvantage on theirs. Super helpful if you're trying to buy some breathing room for your frontliners. It's one of those utility shots that's always good to have in your pocket. Then let's bump our overall damage and take a dip into rogue level. Why Atreus taking a rogue level dip, you might ask? Well, just think of it like as the kind of everyday stuff Kratos taught them. You know, how to move quietly and always aim with precision. Which leads us to that sweet sneak attack damage, bumping it up by a d6 once every round. Might not seem like much, but always feel like there's a little hole in my chest if I don't have it, especially for an archer build that's all about raw damage. Also, don't forget to set it on reaction or critical hits only. We also get a second feature, which is the expertise. Like I mentioned earlier, when you stack that with guidance, this build becomes the ultimate skill monkey. As Atreus made his journey to Asgard, maybe Odin let a bit of his power, just enough for Atreus to tap into it and chase what he truly wanted. And that's where our Warlock level dip comes in. As for subclass, it's pretty flexible. You could go with Finn for some bonus temp HP every time you get a kill. Just make sure to invest in decent charisma to make it worth it. Personally, I like Gulok's, the greater one, the most. It's great for crit fishing item set, and the Murder Reminder passive gives you some soft CC by shutting enemies down with fear whenever you land a critical hit. Speaking of critical hit, if you wanna make this a patch 8 team build, Hexblade is your guy. The Hexblade's curse boosts your crit chance and even heals you when a target dies. But honestly, that's not even the main reason we are here. The real value is in the shield spell. Exclusive to the Hexblade, amazing for defense. Are really nice to have to dodge incoming attacks every now and then. If you go different subclass, then just pick up Hellish Rebuke. It's a nice little 2d10 fire retaliation. Just make sure you're saving a spell slot or two for Hex at the end of the day. Priorities, right? And of course, every Warlock gets the Hex spell by default. It adds an extra d6 necrotic damage to a single target, basically your Warlock version of Hunter's Mark. I would recommend Longbow or Crossbow for this build, since Hex will be our go-to bonus action. It's a concentration spell, and as long as you maintain concentration, you can recast it when the marked enemy dies. No need to waste a spell slot. So yes, whenever you cast Hex on someone, make sure they are going down that same round, so you can bossing it around with bonus action on subsequent turns. And as you probably already know, the best archer in the game, we are wrapping our journey as the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
We are the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
It is absolute heaven for picking up skill proficiencies, whether you wanna be the party's lockpicker, trap spotter, or the face during conversations. And with guidance from Fighter earlier, that's pretty much nothing our bard can't handle. You also get access to solid utility spells. You can grab any non-concentration spells you like to round things out. At level 2, we get Song of Rest, basically a free mini short rest. Warlocks and monks are gonna adore you for it. We also unlock Jack of all trades, which gives you a bonus to almost every ability check. So whenever you need a Swiss Army knife character to handle anything outside combat without constantly switching to Astarion, this is your guy. At level 3, we take the Swords Bard subclass. First off, we get Defensive Flourish, which lets us boost our AC in a pinch, but honestly, since we already have the shield spell from Hexblade, we might never end up using it at all. As for Mobile Flourish, it's a solid option for a single target control and repositioning. You can push an enemy away, then you can also teleport next to them. Stuck in a corner? Gone. Need to reach a specific spot? Boom! You're there. But let's be honest, we are here for the real showstopper, the Slashing Flourish. I mean, when else does an archer get 2 shots in one go? Only on Swords Bard. For an archer that based on raw damage, this is a must-have. It's flashy, it hits hard, and it's probably the only one we'll be burning all our bardic inspiration on. It's also our go-to when Arcane Shot just doesn't cut it, like against bosses when you need strong single target damage. Last time I used this feature in my swashbuckler build when I cranked up the melee control game with disarms, pushes, blinds, and pure dueling chaos. If you love technical bullying wrapped in style, check that one out too. By level 5, Bardic Inspiration starts recharging on short rest, which is exactly why we want to hit at least about 5. It makes the build feel way more sustainable without needing to rely on long rest all the time. Early game from level 1 to 5, going martial is the way to go. It just outshines everything else. That's why grabbing extra attack as soon as possible is a priority. Hitting Fighter 5 also gives us heavy armor and shield proficiencies, so we are not as squishy as most backliners. Plus, we get second wind for a bit of healing and action surge whenever you need to fire more shots. And let's be real, early on, the game's full of low HP enemies. It's an absolute hunting ground for our Arcane Archer. This is where we shine with AoE shots and high impact turns. Once we hit mid-game, level 6 to 10, we start branching out. First, we dip into Rogue for that extra d6 from sneak attack and pick up expertise for skill monkey greatness. Then comes the Warlock level, not just for Hex, but also for the shield spell if you choose Hexblade. Speaking of expertise, Bard brings a lot to the table too, 2 rounds of skill proficiencies, Jack of all trades, and Song of Rest for bonus short rest. Bard also kicks off our spell slot progression, which we need to keep Hex active. It also gives us access to useful utility and control spells, things like Featherfall, Dissonant Whispers, Long Strider, perfect for keeping fights under control. Then in the late game, we round out our Bard levels, more spell slots, more utility, more spells variety, and most importantly, Font of Inspiration so we can recharge our flourishes on a short rest. And to wrap things up, if you're looking for stronger spell slot progression while still keeping extra attack, there's also the option of going 6 Bard, 4 Fighter, 1 Rogue, and 1 Warlock. You still get all the essential Slashing Flourish, Font of Inspiration, Sneak Attack, Hex, and Shield. When it comes to ability scores, Constitution is important. We're a backliner holding concentration spells like Hex, so you'll want attack 16 or at least 14. That said, 14 is enough since we already get Constitution saving throw proficiency from starting as a fighter. As for Dexterity, 16 is non-negotiable. It's our main damage stat and directly affects our ability to land hits with the bow. Now here's where the build can split depending on your item choices. If you plan to use Titan String Bow, you'll need a solid strength for it to work properly. You can handle that in 2 ways, either bring along the Club of Hill Giant strength or keep a few strength elixirs handy to boost your stat during the whole day. But if you don't like the idea of chugging potions every now and then, go with 16 strength, 16 dex, and 14 constitution. If you're skipping Titan String and don't care about strength, then you can instead invest those points into charisma, because you can make better use of your bonus action by equipping the Ring of Mystic Scoundrel, letting you cast spells like Vicious Mockery, Bane, or Dissonant Whispers with charisma scaling. Having 16 charisma gives you a better spell saves and stronger utility overall. And of course, when it comes to archery feats, we are grabbing Sharpshooter. We need that juicy 10 damage, because 10 is just simply huge. But trust me, the -5 to attack roll hurts. It is no joke. For that reason, my Slashing Flourish keeps missing that second arrow. It's driving me nuts. That's why we'll want to stack bonuses like Blast or the archery fighting style to keep our shots landing. That said, you'll definitely want to push dex to 18. We need every bit of accuracy we can get. As I mentioned earlier, the Titan String Bow is the highest damage archery weapon in the game. It adds bonus damage equal to your strength modifier on top of your regular dexterity based attacks. If you got the stats or item support for it, it hits like a truck. And when it crits, kaboom! Speaking of which, if you're chasing those big numbers, this is where the crit fishing setup comes in. Just throw on the death shot and its crit happy cousins and you're already in business. The cherry on top is the risky ring. It gives you advantage on attack roll, which is perfect for landing crits more consistently. But yeah, watch out for the downside. You get disadvantage on saving throws and you'll lose your precious d6 from Hex. I would say high risk, high reward. The rest obviously adjusted as you like. Just don't forget heavy armor. We're a backliner, not a piñata. And there you have it, a magical barrage build that blends precision, power, and style. From Arcane Shots to Slashing Flourish, this Atreus-inspired archer rains chaos from the backline with flair. Just remember, stay out of melee, line up those crits, and let the arrows do the talking. For those of you who made it this far, thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate you taking a bit of your time to watch. Like any bard worth their salt, I just hope to inspire you to build something fun, something that gives back a little spark to your own adventures. To the 100 amazing people who subscribed, thank you. Knowing there are 100 of you waiting for me to hit upload is more than enough to keep me going and growing. After patch 8, I still haven't seen anyone, not on Reddit, not even among the usual build creators, talking about bard multiclass for archers. It's like people just forgot. Which is wild, because Swords Bard has always been one of the best subclass for archery since day one. I get it, everyone's hyped about the new subclasses, but come on, this is BG3, it's the land of wild multiclassing and busted combos. And Swords Bard still holds the crown of the highest archery potential in terms of raw damage, hands down. That's it for the video, I hope it was worth your while. Once again, thank you so much for watching, until next time.